Hey, welcome to On the Chain. Tonight is our Off the Block interview segment. This is Jeff here with co-host Chip. We've got three guests with us tonight, and tonight is going to be really an outstanding conversation. Why? Because we have this DeFi platform, FinNexus, and we have three of the key people with us tonight. We have Boris Yang, founder and CEO. Hey, Boris, how are you tonight?
That's good. Hello,
Awesome.
everyone. Yeah,
Awesome.
thank you,
And
Jeff.
we You're welcome. You're welcome. We have Ryan Tian, financial specialist, and we have none other than Professor K
In the
Hi
house.
guys.
in the house tonight.
Good night.
So tonight we're gonna get into DeFi. We're gonna get into understanding what their platform's all about. And guess what? It's getting ready to start right now.
And now, Off the Block with Jeff and Chip on the chain.
Whoa, I love that, man. That was the first time I saw that intro.
Yeah, it looks
Really,
good.
really nice. Good job. Good job. I'm really, really excited to have the FinNexus team with us tonight. Chip, why don't you kick us off? Let's do some intros to each one of them, a little bit of background, and then we'll move on and understanding FinNexus a little bit.
Yeah, sounds good. So, Boris, since you're the CEO and co-founder, could you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay. Yeah, I'm Boris. I joined the crypto industry from 2016. Yeah. Before joining the industry, I worked in internet and software industry for several years as a product designer and entrepreneur. And during that time, something interesting. I started and run a restaurant, but it was closed very quickly in 3 months. Yeah. And at that time, Ryan we are classmates in university. He helped me. At that time, he was a investment banker and came to my restaurant and helped me to wash dish. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So brotherhood, right? Yeah. Yeah.
Really nice.
Yeah. But just one time, Yeah. Yeah.
Not too much. Not too much.
Yeah. Okay. Go back to crypto. Yeah. At 2015, I was so impressed by the white paper of Bitcoin, so I decided to join the industry. In the next year, I worked with Jack Lu, who was co-founder of Factom. We built one chain together from that year. And in that year, I think I bought a BTC with almost all I have. Yeah. In one chain, I'm responsibility. I take in charge of product design. So I knew lots about public chains. And from the last year, I started the FinNexus with Ryan and other team members. Yeah, that's my background, I think. Yeah.
Nice. Very nice. And we'll go to Ryan. So, since he mentioned you and your instrumental sort of a friendship and bond that you guys knew each other, tell us a little bit about your background, Ryan.
Okay, thank you, Chip and Jeff. I was schoolmate, actually roommate with Boris back in the university. And I spent 2 years of postgraduate study in UK, and after graduation, I became an investment banker for almost 10 years. And then after that, I spent 2 years in Africa and dealing with all the financial problems there. And I find that there are always huge depreciation of the local currencies. And also during my time when I was doing IPO for a computer science company, when I was investment banker, I got to know Bitcoin and all the crypto stuff. And Boris led me through the white paper of Bitcoin. I thought, whoa, this is something new. I never seen this in my life. This is going to be the future. So I began to dig in all the crypto thing. And after I got back from Africa, and Boris and I and a bunch of friends, including Nicholas, we founded the FinNexus together. We thought we want to build it to become a supermarket or a portal for the future finance and crypto. Yeah, that's the basic background. Thank you.
Oh, very nice, very nice. And then Professor K, tell us a little bit about your background and how you came to this project as well.
Well, I went to study my MBA in finance at University of South Carolina in 2010, 2011. And we have a partnership with Tsinghua University in Beijing. So I ended up spending, I think, 2/3 of my MBA in Beijing. And so I decided to stay afterwards. And I think I heard about Bitcoin sometime around there. I think the first time it pumped 5x in a month was late 2013. And someone told me, hey, what do you think? You're a finance guy. What do you think about this Bitcoin thing? 5x in a month. Yeah, right. And I looked at it and I was like, shit, that's a scam. And, you know, I thought, well, maybe I'll check back in on this, you know, next time it's down again. So, of course, you know, I vowed to look at it, and then it based around $200 for 2-3 years there. And I got busy with life, and I started a PhD, and I got to actually writing the thing in 2016, 2017. I started researching the People's Bank of China. As you probably know, the DCEP, or the central bank digital currency, is about to come out there. And it's actually in test cities right now in China. But they were talking about this in 2017. So when I did my research, I looked into the research that the PBOC, People's Bank of China, was doing. And they had started their own digital currency research institute in 2014. And I said, wait, that's that thing that was a scam that went 5x in a month. Well, if there's a central bank looking into it, I got to look into this. And, you know, as everyone always talks about when they get into Bitcoin or blockchain, you know, there's that moment where you go down the rabbit hole. And that was my sort of rabbit hole moment, early 2017, when I found out that the Central Bank of China was looking into Bitcoin. Anyway, so I started holding a bunch of community events so we could all learn together. You know, professors will have students who are asking me about this stuff, and can you please explain it to me and whatever. In the course of holding all those events, I met the WanChain folks. I ended up working on another sort of more B2B finance project for a year or so. And when Beanie and Jack Liu got the white paper from these guys, I was one of the first people they sent it to. And I loved it. And I said, you know, let me help however I can. And, you know, here we are. So that's my story.
Nice. So somewhere along the way, we lost Boris. I don't know. I think he got maybe sucked in by the internet, ghosts or something. Hopefully he'll be back. If you guys can ping him, bring him back in here.
Okay.
Well, let's dive into the project, Jeff. Let's kick off some questions here so people can understand a little bit about them.
That's great. Let's do it. What do we have? I think you know, a really good place to start with you know, with the questions. Let's do it now that Boris is back. This is great.
Right.
But just in summary, if you were going to give us an elevator pitch of what FinNexus is, what is that elevator pitch, and who wants to give it?
Elevator pitch.
I will start a little bit about talking about FinNexus. I think there is a slide I want to show to you.
It's 30 seconds, Ryan. Elevator pitch.
Yeah. Oh, we just hit the top floor. Uh-oh, guys. What are we going to do?
Oh, okay.
That happens.
Right.
You can. I'll share your screen. Go ahead. There we go.
Go ahead. Yeah, let's go into this. Is FinNexus. It's going to be a really long elevator. That's okay.
No, it's
go
okay.
ahead. No, go ahead.
I'll make it short.
FinNexus.
Actually, FinNexus is just the combination of two simple words, finance and the nexus. You know, finance here, we have decentralized finance, and we also have the legacy finance. And right now, the legacy finance has already locked up for hundreds of trillions of US dollars. But compared to that, the decentralized finance is actually quite small. It's going around something like $1 billion US. However, the decentralized finance has very merits, and we want to combine these two sides, and we would like to call it open finance. And next is here, we would like to make it or call it connections, all kinds of connections. We want to connect different counterparties and participants in the blockchain, and we also want to build FinNexus into the hubs for decentralized applications and all kinds of assets. We want to connect the different parties by our, we say the protocols or the protocol clusters. And this, from this protocols, we would like to provide all kinds of different products or assets that has different risk return profiles. That's basically the basics of FinNexus. Okay.
Okay, so that's really interesting. You know, seeing and that was actually one of our questions that we wanted to ask is how did you come to this name FinNexus? And now it makes sense. I like that. That's really good. So let's I guess getting into a little bit. I'm looking for, you know, kind of if you were to identify what the problem in the space is, and that's one of the things that as you read through your white paper, as you read through the website, you're identifying maybe some inefficiencies in the existing financial system. Can you tell us a little bit about how, you know, what is the problem that you've identified? So let me post this question up here. So if we you know, look at the problem that you identified and then, you know, attribute the solution, what is the solution that FinNexus is providing?
Sure. In the white paper and also from the white page, we raised a saying that is called the 3 pillars of DeFi. And it is bear a little resemblance of the trilemma of the blockchain. Actually, the 3 pillars of DeFi is value, diversity, and convenience. That is the 3 main problems we want to solve in the DeFi world. Also, I want to show you this slide here. So,
is that the right slide?
Yeah, it's this one.
Okay. Okay. So we see the diversity, the value, and the convenience. So you have an intersect. So these are your 3 pillars.
These are the 3 pillars of DeFi. Yeah.
Okay. So let's go ahead.
Yeah. Okay.
Actually,
go
ahead,
from the past experience, there is we lack of diversity in the crypto world. For example, when the Bitcoin price rises, everything follows, and when the market price or the Bitcoin price drops, everything just plummets. So there is a super high correlation among different kinds of the cryptos in blockchain. We want to solve this problem by providing another link to the real world application. So we want to introduce the value or the cash flows from the real world and tokenize on the blockchain. So in this way, we can diverse the systematic or the intrinsic value of this crypto world. That is the diversity problem. The second one is the value. Actually, it's going to answer the question of why making investment, where the value is coming from, how to make valuation of the crypto projects. Actually, from this, we also want to emerge the traditional financial methodology or to introduce the traditional financial model into this blockchain. For example, the first product we're providing is the asset-backed tokens called UMS. It's in the process of ICTO. From this token or this asset, we combine the traditional financial methodology, which is called the hierarchical model, and also the asset-backed securitized model, and we make it into the blockchain world. That is solving the value problem. The next one is the convenience problem. Actually, it's gonna answer the question how to make investment. Right now, it is very difficult for the blockchainers to introduce the blockchain ideas to the people who don't know coding or who have never get access to computer science or something like that. And it is also more difficult for people to introduce DeFi to the ordinary people. This is what we want to solve. We want to make this easy and simple and as transparent as it is. We want to make the interface user-friendly. We want to make the value proposition understandable and acceptable by the ordinary people. And we want to solve the time-consuming problems in FinNexus. That's the basic three problems we want to solve by making FinNexus.
Even with me, I live and breathe this stuff. And, you know, when I'm rebalancing my portfolio, I'm literally dying because, you know, Uniswap gas fees are too low or too high or they're timing out and I get failures. And, you know, it'll take me an hour just to move around a couple $1,000s. And I can only imagine if you weren't a finance professor who loved the crap out of blockchain like me, you'd probably look at this stuff and be like, yeah, well, I'm not doing that. I'm just not doing that. And this is the problem we want to solve. We want people to you know, have an app or have a website that they log into and it makes intuitive sense and they just rebalance with the click of a button. Ideally, in the long run, that's what we want to build.
Gotcha. So out of curiosity, so you guys had a pretty interesting, well, it actually happened yesterday for you because it's the morning for you, but for most of us in the US and in this part of the world, it's still nighttime. So we're talking to you in the future. I wanted to talk a little bit about the I don't know if you call it the FNX token. So the FNX token got listed on BitTrue. So congratulations. And I believe it did very well today. Is that true?
Well, we have an ongoing token event. So today for you guys this morning, we sold 6 million FNX tokens. And then tomorrow morning will be another 8 million tokens. And then each day thereafter for the next 4 or 5 days, for a total of 40 million tokens are going to be distributed through BitTrue. So
gotcha.
That was pretty cool. Like the first day sold out. In an hour and a half or something.
In 2 hours. It's
impressive.
Yeah.
That's impressive. Yeah, it sure is. And so so this event, what's the actual cap? How many FNX tokens will there be total?
Well, the total supply is 500 million FNX, but we have let's see, a bucket for variable issuance, which is 75 million, and then a bucket of operational reserves, which is 150 million. And then our team bucket is like 50 million, and it's locked up for, I don't know, Boris is not going to let me have my tokens for like 5 years.
Yeah, 4 years. After listing. They were released.
Never.
Smart man, Boris.
So the circulating supply after this event will be 44 million max. And for the next 3 months, they won't. We have a couple other funds that invested, and those tokens won't unlock for 3 months. And then we also have a mechanism in which that a lot of that circulating supply, the initial 44 million, can get burned. Okay. So it's pretty interesting.
Okay, so I wanted to go into, so this next one's direct. So what is the FNX token? Could you talk a little bit about it?
Well, I missed my chance to give my elevator pitch because I had a delivery guy come in the middle of this.
Oh man,
perfect. Now you give the elevator pitch on the FNX token.
So the elevator pitch is the FNX token allows you to access the FinNexus crypto supermarket, which will be a basket of protocols and products. The first product of which is related to our token event on BitTrue, UM1S asset-backed token. And the second product of which I'm really excited about is the decentralized Bitcoin options minting platform. So that will probably come out in 2 or 3 months, where we have that live, depending on how fast Boris can whip the engineers into shape. And we're really excited about that, because there's nothing like that on the market right now. You can mint Ethereum options on platforms like Hedgic and Open, and I think there's a few others out there right now too. But at least on Open, you can only mint protected puts. And on Hedgic is a little bit, I haven't used Hedgic yet, but I've read about it. Our platform will be Bitcoin first, and then we'll slowly roll out other assets, so most likely ETH and XRP and probably WAN. But we'll see where the demand is, really. And it'll be both calls and puts. So how the token plays into that is that if you want to be able to mint options, you're going to have to be able to stake FNX. If you want to be able to pay the premiums, you're going to have to pay those in FNX. And then also, if you want to access the UM1S, or what we call UMNS, because right now we have this first one associated with the ICPO, but then beyond that, we'll have second, third, fourth, fifth iterations of the UMNS tokens. And you'll need FNX to access those, to subscribe to those products.
Yeah, so as you start adding new products, it's going to sort of be, like you said, like a supermarket, where it will allow you to basically go into other different things that's really real world backed, right? Something that you're tokenizing.
Right, and so the FNX token sort of gives you the keys to that ecosystem.
Gotcha. Keys is probably the good analogy of that, right? So you can unlock different things. It's a pretty vast project, like in scope, from anything that we've really ever seen. I mean, it's looking out there, like it's very ambitious.
Well, we try to do it one step at a time. In Chinese, we say "yibu yibu lai," and that's the way to do any of these things. I've been involved in projects that also have big visions, and then they just try to do everything at once, and it doesn't work.
Solid point.
We want to make the project launchable.
Launchable.
Yeah, launchable. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's an ambitious picture, but we think we should do it step by step. So now we have to focus on. One is the asset-backed token from real world.
Right.
That's one way. Another way is a pure decentralized finance product, such like decentralized options mentioned by Professor K. Before. So we want to use different assets to make resolve the problem. Ryan said, diversity. Yeah.
It's like FinNexus has two hands. One is the real world tokenization model. The other one is the decentralized model, and starting by the decentralized options, something like that.
Okay,
and
so
tokens are firmly connected with these two hands.
Okay, yeah. So it's interesting. So you talk about it, an asset-backed token, right?
Yeah.
So can you explain, how that works a little bit? As we're reading the white paper as well about the token, it states that it's really for use only on the platform, so it's a utility token, and it's not intended to be a medium of exchange that would be accepted by the public. So you're not going to use it for payment of goods, services, etc. So it's going to be consistently utilized on your own platform. But can you explain that a little bit? That was one area that I guess I was a little bit confused with. Trying to really identify that your token is being launched on the BitTrue platform and you're selling the token outside of your ecosystem. So I'm trying to understand the dynamics of that aspect. So can you get into that part a little bit?
So first thing is there's two different tokens. The first one is FNX, which is sort of the utility token. I call it's a sort of multi-purpose token. The first is it's a utility token. The other is it's a protocol token, and then later on, we plan to develop a collateral token model, kind of in the model of synthetics. But like I said, step by step, that's going to be, you know, a year out or more. But so those are the three uses that we foresee for the FNX token. And then I'll let Ryan explain why we have the UM1S, because it's kind of interesting. Ryan came up with this as a way to solve some of the problems that are in these token-based capital raises. So why don't you tell us about that?
Can you explain what was that the phrase again?
Yeah.
Before you start, would you say the UN?
The other token is
the other token.
UM1S.
UN1S.
UM1S. Okay.
Yeah, UM1S.
Then we can put that up there.
First tokenized product on the FinNexus platform. Why we call it UM1S? It sounds a little bit strange. Actually, UM is the name of the asset originator.
Is that it, or is it an M?
Yeah. It's owner of this asset.
Mary.
UM1S. UM is the owner of this asset. One is like the phase one, and S here stands for the senior tranche. We use it. We use the graded or the hierarchical model from the traditional finance. We grade it into the senior tranche and the equity tranche, and this token represents the benefits of the senior tranche. And by introducing UM1S, I think I first introduced something about the asset-backed tokens. You know, it has a connection with the real world. Actually, there are many ways to connect the real world with the blockchain. There are many different token models. The first one is the stable token. It has a direct link with the value of different kinds of fiat currencies. That's one thing. The other one is the security token that is directly originated from the traditional security model. For example, I think you have heard of a project called Sologenetic.
Sure.
They are tokenizing the real world securities, like the stocks, the funds, the EFTs, or something like that. That's another way of tokenizing real world asset into the blockchain. But however, what we do is tokenizing the real world cash flows or the real world actual assets, not securities, into the blockchain. For example, this kind of UM1S is originated from the credit market or the credit asset in Southeast Asia. And we have digged into so many kinds of assets and find the most possible asset that can be tokenized on the blockchain platform. Actually, not all assets are tokenizable. For example, if someone owns a car in the US and he wants to tokenize this car by making a fractional ownership and sell it to the Asian guy, but the Asian guy holds the token, he has no use. He cannot drive the car. He cannot fly to the US and drive the car. So the token has no way but to make depreciation or lose its value. So not everything is tokenizable. We have digged into many kinds of assets, and we find several types are perfect fit for the blockchain world. The first one is the credit asset, and also the factoring, the real estate market, and also the property rights. Then those are the most tokenizable assets we want to target. And here we firstly find the asset of the credit market in Southeast Asia, and we kind of tokenized it by utilizing the real world security model. For example, this UM entity has a legit entity in the Southeast Asia market, and they make consumer loans to the individuals, and usually these individuals who's like 30 to 300 US dollars loans, and these loans comes and goes quite often. So we need to build a model to make this cash flow stabilized. So we created this kind of token, and it represents the benefit of this future cash flows of these credit loans. And also we make it graded into two tranches. The first one is the senior tranche, as we said in the UM1S, and The next one is the equity tranche that is subscribed by the asset owner. This subordinate tranche or the equity tranche will provide the kind of guarantee or security for the returns of the senior tranche. And also there are external credit enhancements to make sure that the returns of the UMS is actually guaranteed. And we, as well as the bank, local bank, we have make connections with them, and we have make them as a supervising party to supervise the fiat currencies that is in and outside of this designated account. So from this traditional financial model, we kind of tokenize this rise into the blockchain world, and this token is actually representing the beneficiary rights of the senior tranche of this model. Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's an earful. That's a ton of stuff. I mean, you guys are really approaching something from an angle that I haven't really seen yet. You know, I mean, it's extremely in depth from a financial perspective, it seems like. And it's interesting that, you know, you have the idea of tokenizing an asset. You know, we've seen some projects out there that are attempting to tokenize real estate, some that are attempting to tokenize maybe collectibles, and they're going to be very specific. But from this area where you're sharing, I mean, you can really tokenize anything at that point through your platform, whether it's a real estate, or you brought up a car, but it could be a collectible car that's worth a few $1 million, and you have multiple people owning a portion of that vehicle, or maybe it's a high performance, you know, supercar that, you know, you have fractional ownership in. I don't know if that's a way to do it. It's a depreciating asset. So I don't know if that is the right mechanism. Are you thinking mostly then from a tokenized asset where it has to be an appreciating asset, not a depreciating asset, right?
Yeah, you're right. Actually, by making it appreciating, we need to targeting this asset that is packaging into something collectible in the future, which means the future real world cash flows that is backing the returns of these kinds of assets. Just now you're talking about the collectible cars. Actually, there's a platform called DMM DAO in Ethereum. He's actually doing that. And we right now there are some projects that share the similar visions with us, and most of them are on Ethereum. But you know, this is the future, and the connection between the blockchain and the real world is the future.
Yeah, I agree, and I'm just trying to wrap my head around this. I'm picturing Boris in his restaurant, you know, putting all this stuff together, and all these ideas are flowing through his brain when he's in the restaurant. You know, obviously, you know, you set up the WAN chain first, and, you know, something must have been going on where you're connecting all this. Boris, I mean, that's amazing to me, you know, that how did all of, you know, what were you thinking at that point? You said you wanted to get into it, you know, but there must have been something. I mean, it's amazing to take the leap from restaurateur to blockchain.
I want to say restaurant just opened 3 months. I run all of my money and close it. Yeah.
What kind of restaurant was it? What was the restaurant's? What were you guys specializing in?
Yeah.
Was it just a regular family restaurant, or?
No， 那个快餐怎么说来着？
It's you know, Boris is from Yunnan. It's in the south part of China, and this restaurant is dealing with some local food.
Gotcha.
Traditional
food.
Yeah, rice noodle.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Guys, the flavor is very different.
But being in the kitchen wasn't for you, it seems like, obviously.
You know,
yeah, one day.
Experience,
that was it.
I understand. Yeah. I understand. I'm not good at that. Yeah. So, so I came back to the software and the internet industry, and then joined the crypto industry. Yeah.
Right.
I like product design more than restaurant. Yeah.
Right. Now, how long were you with? Well, before I ask that, I'm fine. This is really interesting to me. I'm seeing this connection with Cheetah Mobile. kind of a little sidestep. So when we spoke with Chris Wang, from BitTrue, was the first time that I really had I found out about Cheetah Mobile. Now I'm realizing Cheetah Mobile has been, I've used different Cheetah Mobile platforms before. They have the Clean Master and Security Master, different apps, from Cheetah Mobile that are on Android. I didn't realize they were behind those projects. But I'm now seeing, Cheetah Mobile seems to be, the epicenter of a lot of blockchain companies, right? So we have BitTrue seems to have somehow flowed out of Cheetah Mobile. WanChain seems to have flowed out of Cheetah Mobile. What's the connection with Cheetah Mobile?
Well, actually, we get to know Cheetah Mobile by the common institutional investor of WanChain and Cheetah Mobile. They share a common institutional investor. And earlier last year, we get started talking, and we want to find a way to combine the resources together. And Cheetah Mobile is actually right now focusing. One thing is the AI and robot and something around that, and the other one is fintech. They built a fintech platform, and they also want to dig much into this field. And so WanChain and Cheetah Mobile get to know each other by this common investor, and we start to sit together and talk about the future paths and what the potentials we could bring together. And Cheetah Mobile has so many experiences in the internet, in the marketing, in computer science, and WanChain is famous for its POS, its cross-chain technology, and also security. And they find so many ways, so many things in common they can talk about. So
right.
Yeah, Boris is a former WanChainer, and
is that what you call them, WanChainers? Okay,
WanChainers. I like that.
I like that.
WanChainers to
guys,
FinNexusers.
Yeah, FinNexusers. So I had a quick question for you guys. I mean, especially for our audience too. Here we talk. We're very steeped in not only this channel but in this space. I wanted to know a little bit more about how do you plan on leveraging the XRP ledger, because that was something that you alluded to as well. That's in the future plan, and could you speak on that a little bit about what that might look like? Professor
Boris,
K.
why don't you tell us the technical aspects of this, and I can talk about.
Yeah, let's do that. Break it up.
Yeah, for XRP Ledger, so we are preparing to run a validator on XRP Ledger. It's better for the engineers to develop more tokens on XRP Ledger. Yeah, we think XRP Ledger pay more attention on payment, and the payment for what? We give a solution is assets. So we want to issue more assets like UM1S on XRP Ledger. Yeah.
So if you think about it from the perspective of strategic perspective, you really just want to put assets where they're going to be accessible, right? So XRP Ledger has a huge community. Obviously, XRP Army is awesome, but it also has the technology to access fiat payment streams. So basically what we're trying to do with the UM1S type products is we want to move from one protocol cluster to another protocol cluster. So the first protocol cluster we call ADP, or Asset Distribution Protocol. So the idea there is that basically you can take any data set of your receivables and put it into our protocol, and then out pops a token. You can choose where you want to put. You can choose a couple of things, right? So you take your database, feed it into the protocol cluster, and then you can choose, well, what chain do you want that to live on? It could be XRP, it could be WAN, it could be Ethereum, it could be other things in the future. What payment do you want to have come out of that? So as the payment streams come in, how do you want to reward those token holders? It could be a stable coin. It could be USDT or USDX or SUSD or any of the number of stable coins that are out there, or it could actually be fiat. And so if you choose fiat, we have to use XRP Ledger, because there's nothing like XRP Ledger that actually interfaces with banks, so that you could receive your payments in that way.
So you're speaking to the interoperability of the ledger to be able to take that stream and sort of more or less convert it, and also do it in a very efficient manner. Right, and Boris and I talk about this, like interoperability in blockchain world is such a narrow definition. When we're talking like interoperability in blockchain, we say, oh, so BTC can talk to ETH and talk to ETC and talk to Polkadot and whatever. Yeah. Honestly, no one cares. When we really talk about interoperability, and the XRP world understands this, you need to talk about all the legacy systems that the banks actually run on. Right. So, you know, that, what's it called? The REST APIs, and then all of the sort of old school coded stuff that was done in the 80s that banks in emerging markets are still running on. You still have to talk to all of those systems. So true interoperability is across blockchain and across the legacy systems. And so XRP understands this, and Boris is all about that. So that's why it was a natural partner. Well, I don't know, call it a partnership, but it was a natural sort of, hey guys, we would like to work with you. Can you help us to understand your technology? And so we have, you know, group chat set up so that we can work with in that manner with XRP. That's great. That's fantastic.
Just as Nicholas just mentioned, XRP is one of the most famous and most successful platform for payments and for settlements. Also, it has a tight connection with the fiat currencies. And to deal with the real world asset, you have to, right now, at least at this stage, you cannot isolate it in the crypto world. You cannot just put all your attention into the crypto initiated coins. You have to constantly communicate or interact with the real world fiat currencies. And XRP is the perfect platform to build it. Also, recently, XRP has developed into kind of new functions that we can tokenize or build asset models onto this ledger. And also, XRP provide a natural liquid for all the tokens that are issued on XRP. It is perfect for us. For example, this kind of asset-backed tokens is a little bit like the bonds or the corporate bonds or something that give you a steady return in a certain period of time. It has maturity, and right now in the traditional financial market, the transactions of this kind of asset is enormous. It's got huge amount. But it's not seen here in crypto, not any. We haven't seen any crypto asset that has certain kind of maturity working as a bond, but has liquidity. No, not Uniswap, not DEXs, not any centralized exchanges. And
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Yeah, we think the XRP ledger can provide this kind of liquidity. It's got
I was going to ask you real quick, just a technical question. Do you guys think this new functionality on the ledger that allows you to delete a wallet, before it used to be that, you know, you'd open a wallet with 20 XRP, but do you guys think you'll take advantage of that sort of feature where you'll open a wallet, do a transaction, and maybe close it out? Or do you see using something more universal, having a universal wallet that you'll process through? How would you approach that?
I think transparency is something in this game that people really don't pay enough attention to. So even if we're using one wallet, I think we'd have to let people know, like, if there's a wallet tied to UM1S, I think it should be transparent. You should be able to go log in and see the transactions there, so you can see the flows coming in and going out. But of course, you know, like exchanges are always like, you know, dumping out of this wallet and putting into another wallet, but they're never very transparent about it. So
actually, we have already talked to the wallet here that are built on XRP ledger, right, Boris? What's the name of it?
UMX.
UMX?
UXMM?
UXMM.
Yeah,
UXMX.
Are you talking about Zum? XUMM?
XUMM.
Yeah, that's Visa Win's project. Yeah.
we have already get our hands on these technical things with this wallet, and we kind of want to launch our later product of UMNS on here.
some.
Yeah, UMN, yeah.
You know what? I have a question for you guys, and I think it's really interesting because you guys are kind of digging into the DeFi space, and you're creating, you know, a financial platform, and you guys are all based over in China. You know, maybe you know, forgive our naivete of, you know, what happens actually on the ground over in China. Externally, you know, when we look into China, we look at it as more of a centralized economy, controlled, you know, more by the government. And now they're launching their own CBDC. We talked about that a little bit before. How do you see, you know, existing in kind of a centralized digital economy that is, you know, under this new CBDC that's going to have more control, you know, over the space in China, and then have a DeFi platform? It's really interesting. You know, is there what kind of interconnection is there going to be? How does that work?
Yeah, actually, it's quite interesting. You know, Chinese government is putting they got firm hands. They put so many controls and restrictions on everything, not just the economy or finance. And right now, there are so many people also want to break chains of this control. And to be honest, the Chinese government is very clever. They knows the potential of blockchain. So although they put controls on this kind of economy, they ban the issuance of tokens, they forbidden ICO and everything. They know that the blockchain is the future, so they developed the central bank cryptocurrency from the government. Yeah, and also the things we are building right now, it has no confliction with the restrictions, because from the website or from the Bitru introduction, you can see the Chinese investors are not allowed to make investments in our tokens. That is the basic thing. As long as there's this kind of restriction, then the platform or the companies in China is absolutely safe from the governments. Yes.
That's interesting. So in China, you can't invest in the token. Is that what you're saying? As just an average person that wants to invest in the space, are there right now exchanges that people can access? Because right now with Wanchain and with FinNexus, even though your headquarters is in Beijing, right? But you're registered outside of China.
Yeah.
Right? Is the business registered?
Actually,
Right.
I want to tell you a little bit more about the reason why Chinese government is making so many restrictions on things like this, because of the history. You know, back in the 90s, when there is no blockchain, there is a traditional financial market. There are many companies that are selling stocks to the open public, but these companies are frauds, they're scams, and they just raise money and go away. You know, China has such a large population. The government cannot, tolerate. Sometimes there are a bunch of people sitting in front of the authorization, the government. They cannot stand this happening all the time. So they put restrictions on the public fundraising, very strict restrictions. And these laws has go away from the 90s all the way until now. So right now, when a blockchain company want to raise money from the public, it has to go to the CSRC, similar like in the US. If not, it's violating the security law. So right now, as long as we don't raise money from the local Chinese people in public, then we are safe from we are protected. Also, back to your question, the Chinese people right now can get access to some crypto exchanges or platforms, and they can make investment into the crypto, as long as they keep the society safe. They don't sit in front of the government as long as they abide by the law. Yeah.
Right. So do you see a future? Do you see a future with the digital yuan? You know, it's right now it's in beta test in a couple of cities. You have the CBDC. Now, do you see that there'll be a coexistence between between FinNexus and a digital yuan working together?
Yeah, there will be coincidence because CBDC they are their insurance of this kind of the official cryptocurrency is so centralized. They are controlled by the government. It's just another type of RMB. It belongs to the M0. It's the basic money of the government. They have to make control of all the monetary policies. They cannot make it decentralized and everyone can hold it. They cannot control the insurance. Actually, it's just a kind of digital money by using a fraction of the blockchain technology. It's nothing like the real blockchain world cryptos, I think.
Yeah, I caution people to call the CBDC a cryptocurrency because it's very centralized.
It's a digital.
Yeah.
But there'll still be lots of advantages that are realized by having a CBDC. It'll be much more liquidity out there, and then hopefully the PBOC will not have to print so much money, or we should say create, because we don't really print money anymore. But
no, I think CBDC helps a lot for crypto industry, because CBDC makes more people know what is crypto or what is cryptocurrency. They will actually search something on Google or Baidu, and they know, oh, it's from the blockchain. Blockchain is from BTC. So more people know what is BTC, and maybe some of them will buy it.
Yeah. Well, I
think it's a good thing for a long time.
Yeah.
It's like another marketing event. Like Bitcoin halving is honestly a non-event because everyone knows it's going to happen. However, the marketing aspect of it, which you saw, every single mining pool and Binance and whoever, just halving. It's just a marketing event for them, which increased awareness. And I don't know if you saw the Google trend analysis, this halving versus last halving. It's something like 6-7x more awareness of Bitcoin this halving than it was last 4 years ago. So even though it shouldn't affect the market price all that much, it's actually great for marketing. And so what Boris mentioned is the CBDC in China is going to be marketing all the time for blockchain in China.
It's exactly what happened before in the history of China. When Chinese started building a security market or the stock exchanges, everything got listed there, are controlled by the government. Anything new that is happening in the economy is controlled by the government. But later it is going to the common public, going to private. And I think the same path will follow also by the crypto world in China. Yes. Firstly, the government will launch something, then it will open the doors to the public, and everything can participate. And finally, I think eventually DeFi will be recognized.
One other aspect of the digital yuan that people don't realize is that, in China, we've already pretty much got electronic payments. I mean, I haven't used cash in, 2 years.
Yeah, exactly.
And most people in China have already moved on to Alipay wallets and WeChat Pay wallets. And there's one restriction there if the entire currency industry or the payments industry moves to electronic payments, is that you can't actually do fractional reserve banking. So what it means is that, Alibaba or Ant Financial rather, and Tencent have to actually keep one-to-one reserves in their associated banks for every single yuan that's locked up in their digital wallets, which is, every month increasing an increasing amount of the total currency that's out there. So they need to make a CBDC so that the yuan isn't constantly having to be printed, so they can actually do fractional reserves with the digital currency. Right now it's 1-to-1, and then after the CBDC, it gets put into use all over the place. You can do 10-to-1 like a good central banker expects you to do, which would then decrease the amount of currency that the PBOC has to create. So it's really interesting that you say it's a centralized economy, but in actual fact, the internet industry is not really restricted in that sort of way that we as Americans think that Chinese companies are restricted. Alibaba is a $500 billion company, and Tencent is a $500 billion company or close to it, and those guys are really pushing things forward. And so the success of what we call BAT, Baidu, Alibaba, Tencent here in China has pushed the bank to go more towards a blockchain solution in the central bank digital currency, because they have to, because it's just become a burden on the system that the entire system's almost electronic now.
Right. So we've had the similar debate here on this show. We've had the debate in the country, which is here in the U.S. They talked about a digital dollar, and really it's not probably going to be blockchain based either. So in a lot of the conversation, a lot of people on one side say, well, that will increase the awareness, like what Boris is saying. And you start hearing this, and then people get excited about it, and then they hear about Bitcoin, and they hear about some other, Ether or whatever else, because largely you guys are very early in the space. And I mean, what you are trying to do, you're one of the first, so you're pioneers in the sense that nobody's really attempted this before. So imagine that you have that notch in history, that you're actually going after something that no one's really attempted before. And blockchain's been around since the first Genesis block with Bitcoin back in 2009, right? So it's something pretty exciting.
Yeah, we're excited about being at the forefront of this kind of stuff here. I think a lot of projects have tried to do this kind of stuff before, but they lack the sort of vision of, a lot of it is tribalism, right? Like, I can only develop on ETH because I'm an ETH maximalist, or it has to be Bitcoin because I'm a Bitcoin maximalist, or it's only XRP. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. I just want it to work, and I want access to be given to people who aren't freaking 100 millionaires,
Right. That's right.
Like, that's
a great point.
That's a good analogy.
Access is trying to build, we are not limited to any single public chains. Yeah, for example, the Ethereum, we can build on Ethereum, XRP, one chain, and the other chains. We want to, make connections. We want to make the crypto world, crypto asset known to the open public. We want to make connections to the blockchain and the actual users. Yeah.
So I had a question. I read something in your press release you had, something that fascinated me, and then so in your press release you note that the FNX token asset with a unique conversion mechanism that will sustain the price of FNX, and you also state that the token will give users an opportunity to modify their risk levels in their investment portfolio at any time. So that was interesting, because to me it almost felt like, in a sense, what a stablecoin's functionality is, right? To kind of, when people want to put their park or move stuff around, they want to put it into an asset that's going to be stabilized where the value is. That more or less what's behind that, or is that how that works? Did I get that right, or what does that look like?
Well, for the UMYS kind of product, it's working as a bond, and also you can see it as a stable coin with appreciating essence, because it gives you the interest in the future, backed by the real world cash flows. But actually, this conversion mechanism is not. We want to make the FNX as a stable coin. The FNX is a utility coin of FinNexus, and we want to make it appreciating as long as we are making progress, as long as we launch something new, as long as we make continuous benefits to the holders of FNX. So they are the FNX and the converted UMS or the XRP tokens are completely two different kind of tokens or models. Maybe I will cover something around the ICTO and introduce something more about that. So in the process of ICTO, we have two types of tokens. I will show you a simple slide.
I have it up.
Screen. There you go.
Yeah.
We already have it.
You see that?
Yep.
The Alice, Bob, and Mike.
Here we. Yeah, is it on screen?
Is it a different one?
Yeah.
Oh, it's the same one. Oh, you guys both have it up?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's on the screen right there. You have it. It's the same, I believe. Or is it different? Ryan's is a little bit different.
No.
Let's see. This is Ryan's screen, right? Let's see. Nope. Right there.
Stopped. Okay, yeah, that's different.
ICTO, can you see?
Yeah.
Unless you want to put yours back, Professor Katie, if you still have it there. You want to share that again? We'll pop that up there.
Sure. This is
to...
sort of like how we would expect people to manage their risk, right?
Oh, right here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's UM1S. There's your asset-backed token.
Yeah, here.
There we go. Okay, Professor K, if you could talk to this a little bit.
Yeah.
So the idea here is that
ICTO stands for.
Yeah.
Sorry, let me say something first, maybe first.
Yeah.
ICTO here stands for Initial Convertible Token Offering. Here we have two types of tokens. One is FNX, which is the native utility FinNexus token. And the other one is UM1S.
I'm going to switch it back.
Before, yeah. UM asset-backed token, phase 1 senior tranche. It's actually a kind of a FinNexus product, and it's the first tokenized product of FinNexus. Here, by participating in ICTO, the user of FNX have a right to make a conversion into UM1S by in the period of 3 months. So if one purchases the convertible FNX in the process of ICTO, he can either hold it as FNX as it is, or convert it into UM1S and enjoy 10% annualized return in 3 months. This kind of mechanism we give to the users is actually a kind of risk adjustment mechanism. Yeah, I will show you in the next slide. Here, for example, we have 3 types of users. Alice is quite conservative. Bob is a balanced investor, and Mike is quite aggressive. And Alice, as a conservative user, after purchasing 10,000 units of FNX, she would like to convert 90% of these FNX tokens into UM1S and enjoy a stable return in 3 months, and hold the other 10% as it is, and see where it may lead, where the price will lead her in the future, and she might enjoy a boost of the price as the FinNexus platform develops in the future. And Bob, for example, he might host half of the FNX tokens as it is and convert the other half. And Mike is quite aggressive. He would like to bear higher risks, but enjoy higher expected returns. Then he would hold 100% of the FNX tokens. So the conversion mechanism is kind of a risk adjustment method for the holders of the FNX tokens. That's one point. The other one I want to mention is that after insurance, the converted FNX will be burned. It will cease to exist in the market, and hence will decrease the circulating supply of the total FNX tokens. And then it will, if someone makes conversion, this amount of the FNX tokens will no longer exist in the market, and hence will benefit the remaining holders of the FNX. And at end of the 3 months period of time, we will let the market decide how many FNX tokens are on the market, and we will not control the conversion process. It is up to the holders of the FNX tokens.
Yep. Yeah. So that's really interesting.
One last point.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
This kind of a conversion mechanism is actually a type of safeguard safeguard mechanism for the price of the FNX. For example, if the FNX token drops below the insurance level, some arbitragers or some clever users will just jump in and buy the FNX tokens from the market at a cheaper price and then make conversion, and he or she will enjoy some kind of risk-free return. So this kind of mechanism will provide a price floor for this FNX token in 3 months. Yeah, that's the basic ICTO mechanism.
Yeah. All right. Just real quick, I guess you had the other, if you can go back to that other slide, which was the risk, I guess you close it, but the risk slide, where you're
Alice and Bob and Mike.
Yeah.
No, it's the triangle.
The triangle.
Oh, the triangle.
Yeah. So I'm it's interesting because that's where, you seem to show, let's see here.
The one,
right.
Yeah, keep
there we go.
That one.
Oh, no, the other one. Go back one.
The triangle.
The triangle.
There, that
there
one.
We go. Okay. So here you're seeing the interaction between your two tokens, the FNX and the UM1S. I find that this is kind of an interesting point. I mean, here you're purchasing into the FNX. That's what rolled out today, correct? Is FNX, just to confirm that. So Trey606 was asking earlier on if that's available for purchase in the U.S. And I believe since it was rolled out on BitTrue, does that mean it's available, or no, it's not available in the U.S.?
You have the KYC and they'll reject it in the U.S.
Yeah, BitTrue has a KYC process. So as long as you pass the KYC process, then you can do the subscription in BitTrue.
Right. So, but it's available since it's on BitTrue. You should, and you're already on BitTrue in the U.S. You should be able to buy it.
Yeah.
There's no restriction. So that answers that. But then he wants to know more about the UM1S. But here I'm seeing, the interaction between your tokens. You have the FinNexus token, which is what went for sale. But then you're looking at the UM1S, which is helping to defer the risk, right? Or is that strictly the asset-backed token? Or is that what's going to help defer the risk?
The main idea here is that in case there's some kind of Black Thursday type event, right, where everything goes down 50% because Bitcoin goes down 50% because whatever reason, then you're protected in that case. This is something a little bit different than what other people doing token-based capital raises do, where they just say, oh, whatever, once you own it, we have no responsibility over the price. But we don't. This project is about giving access to more investors and protecting those investors. That's why the next product is allowing you to further tailor your risk by minting puts and calls on Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. So, it's our job to educate people why they need to manage their risk. So here, the reason is we can't control, in the finance world, what we would call systematic risk, right? Where everything goes down because BitMEX's order books are stacked or whatever happened on Black Thursday. No one can control that. It's systematic risk. So we can do our best to protect you from that, at least for the first 3 months. After that, it's up to us to execute and roll out products and be stewards of capital and try to develop this project. But at least in the beginning, we don't want to see anybody lose any money. That's just awful when you see someone put in 5 cents for a token and then it doesn't even go on a market and then it finally debuts and it's half a cent. That's just something we want to avoid altogether. I think that's only fair.
It's a good strategy.
Yeah, it's like from FNX, if you make conversion, it's like you are making investment into a real-world backed bond. It will give you a fixed return in 3 months. So you are free from the crypto kinds of risks in 3 months. You can just collect your principal and interest back into your pocket and leave. Yeah.
Nice.
That's a good way to.
Could you potentially re-enter then? I mean, is that something that, because you're giving people a 90-day window, which is great because this is where a lot of people get hurt, especially novices, right? They hear it from a friend, they get into it, and this is where a lot of people that haven't done the research, this is where they get crushed. So you guys are really, really preventing that. So you have that. How did you choose the 90-day window where there's that sort of cloak of protection?
Yeah. It goes. It has deep connection with the essence of UM9S because the money we collected from the investors, from the insurance of FNX, is actually put into this kind of real world asset. This real world asset, we cannot just put the money and withdraw, frequently. We have to lock it up into this entity for a certain period of time. We negotiate with this entity and raise our proposals. 1 month, 3 months, half a year, 1 year. I think half a year and 1 year is too long for the ordinary token holders because no one wants to lock their money for that long period of time. But if it is 1 month, it is too risky and inconvenient for the asset owners. Because we need to transfer this token, crypto assets into the fiat and put that into the real world. So we balance the pros and cons. We found that 3 months is accessible for both sides. Yeah,
it's a decent amount of time.
It's also a cool way to say, look, these are the kind of assets that we're going to be putting out, and it's kind of a tough educational road here to educate people about these kind of assets. So if we bundle it up with the offering, it kind of makes the path easier for when we do UM2S and UM3S, etc.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Man, this was really, really interesting. I have to say, I didn't anticipate, exactly where the direction of this conversation was going to go. There's so much more to what you guys are doing. We could spend, we need to sit and spend more time with all you guys and really dissect this, in depth. Now I understand why you guys have a professor, on your team because, man, there's so much educating to be done. Boris, you guys did an outstanding job. I think you pulled an amazing team together. Putting all of this together, and I know it's not easy. Developing something in the financial space. You're not just rolling out, some digital token for the sake of having a digital token on the platform. I mean, there's so much, thought that has gone into, how to make a functional product that's going to bring. I think, when we start seeing mainstream adoption in this space, mainstream, financial investments are going to want to find platforms like this. And you guys did a great job so far.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chip.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I don't know, just some parting words. I don't know, Ryan, if you want to say something and just
go around the room.
We'll go around the screen there. But I want everybody to get a last word in here because, guys, like Jeff said, we're just scratching the surface. We just took that top layer, but we enjoyed spending time with you guys. So, Ryan, just a couple words, if you will.
Well, in this special time of uncertainty, we founded a team and we are making great progress. Our team has a variety of different background, and we are united together. And I hope everyone is. And we want to build something that is different from the past crypto project. We want to connect the values of the real world into the blockchain, and we want to dig more into this crypto world by making more connections. So I hope you keep a mind on us and also keep safe and healthy.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you, Ryan. Professor K. Let's do that. I want to say that one more time. Professor K.
Yeah,
I almost said Coach K one time. I'm sorry.
It's half Coach K because he's the best basketball coach in the history of basketball. and half Professor X because he's
Ooh,
the
nice.
coolest comic book character. He's the most powerful mutant through his mind.
I like that.
So it's because my last name is kind of hard to pronounce, and my whole family's been sort of dealing with that ever since they got off the boat from Holland.
How do you pronounce it?
Krapels.
Krapels.
But in China they can't say that, so I just say K. It's easier.
Gotcha.
And,
Exactly.
so I think, Jeff, you've done a really amazing job of sort of grasping some of the issues here in a short amount of time. And I think you're saying, you understand the surface here. And on one side, we want to sort of capture enterprise clients who have cash flowable assets that are looking for alternative means of financing. So that's where we get the ADP, or the Asset Distribution Protocol cluster. That's where we want to point that toward. And then on the other side, because we're kind of, a two-sided platform here, and we want to put those enterprises together with people who may want to say, oh, I've made, what happens in crypto, you make 50% in a month, and you probably should start to protect some of those gains. And then these are the kind of products that would be interesting to you, that would be 3 months or 6 months in duration, and they would have somewhat of a guarantee of safety and also return. Then on the other side, the next thing we're going to do is more pointed towards retail, which is the decentralized option model. So this will be retail investors who want to gain from speculation, or who also maybe want to protect themselves from insurance, from an insurance perspective, like they have 10 BTC and they don't want it to go down because of the halving. They can buy puts. So that's 2-3 months from now. But we have both of these communities that we want to kind of bring together, the enterprise and the retail, and we want to have options, or we want to have products for both. So that's kind of our vision. Awesome. It's going to be a lot of work to get this put together.
A lot of work. You're going to be pretty busy.
It's amazing.
And Boris, take us out of here. What do you have?
Okay, I want to thank you, Chip and Jeff. I think it's a very good experience here. Sometimes I feel nervous, especially I say English. But now, today, I feel easy
awesome.
to talk with you. Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's very good, I think. Yeah. And for our project, for the industry, I want to say, I think decentralized and centralized is something like a balance. The history always adjusts between decentralized and centralized. But now the world is too centralized. So I think decentralized is a way of the future. So believe crypto, believe blockchain, and believe our team. We will keep going. Yeah, that's all.
By the way, that was very well said, and you speak great English. I'll tell you that. So thank you guys for coming on today. We really, this morning, I should say to you guys, because it's morning over there, but thank you very much for coming in, Jeff.
My coffee's empty. I got to go.
I've got my coffee and this big guy right here. So Jeff, take us out.
I just want to give, again, thank you guys for being on. I definitely look forward to the next time we have an opportunity to sit down and talk to you, whether it's online or offline. But I do want to say, we have a lot of great things that are going to be coming up this coming week. We have a number of other live streams. We got a good live stream coming up for tomorrow night. Got XRP Minute on Wednesday. We're going to have a special deep dive planned for Thursday. Saturday morning, we've got another interview coming up next Monday as well with another new platform that's coming online. We're really excited about that one. We'll start rolling out some more details on it. And we have actually on Friday, we're going to be sitting down with the CEO of Library, interviewing him. Oh, cool. And then we have another CEO that's going to be coming up. We're keeping that in wraps right now because we're setting the date for that one. But we've been talking about it. The subject's come up multiple times. So everyone's going to be excited about that when it does roll out. Make sure you guys check out down below. Go to the website, go to onthechain.io IO, and check out. Make sure you guys register for the email newsletter to stay tuned for all the great things that are happening. Man, until then, Chip, I think that's it. You want to take us out of here, or we're done?
One more
thing, Professor K.
Every day this week, be true. UTC 9 a.m., which is what is that? 5 o'clock in the morning in America, 5 p.m. in China. Every day this week, token event for FNX on Be True. Oh. Thank you very much.
There you go. Oh, that's a good one.
Very good.
5 a.m. What time?
Set your clock, Jeff. Set your alarm
5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time? What time is that? Hang on.
I think
it's 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
All right.
Hopefully, by the way, day goes like yesterday or today for you guys.
And just in closing, I just want to say Boris has the best background of any guest we've had on here, so I will give you accolades for that as well. You came prepared. I really appreciate that, man.
Oh, that's a great one.
A fantastic background. I love it. Yeah. That's it, gentlemen. Listen, we'll be in touch. Thank you again for coming on and making this a really enjoyable time for everybody.
Great. Thank you very much,
guys. Stick around after this.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.